Here's another podcast from the Pod Bros Network.
Welcome back to an all-new episode of the Jean-Claude Van Damme cast. It is Jeff and John in studio in beautiful Wyandotte, Michigan. We are still reviewing Jean-Claude Van Damme Behind Closed Doors. We are on episode, 5
I believe
now?
5, yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Episode 5, which is entitled 1.5, and I'm not really sure why that's what they called the episode. Do you know why that's what they called it?
Yes, but I'm not telling.
You did it to me again. This debuted April 19th, 2011. Jean-Claude finishes shooting Dragon Eyes, but a stunt goes wrong. Bianca brings her new boyfriend home for Christmas to meet the family. Will he survive? Oh, man. Okay, yeah, so those are kind of the biggest moments, right? So Van Damme's in Louisiana shooting Dragon Eyes with Kung Lee. He only has a few scenes in it, as we've reviewed it. You should know that. Van Damme knows that he's going to be meeting Bianca's boyfriend, so he does the typical stereotype, like, dad thing. I'm going to kick his ass kind of type of, you don't treat her right. And all the meanwhile, Van Damme's shooting goes well, and they have one last scene to film, in which it's in the what do you call that? It's not a courtyard, it's like the jail yard, I guess, right?
Yeah,
so,
the yard.
The yard. And it's where I think it's kind of in the beginning of the movie. Kung Lee sitting on the bleachers, and the guy comes up to him. He's like, "That's my spot." And he scoots over. He's like, "That's my spot too." And then they start fighting.
Yep, classic.
And then Van Damme's the one who breaks it up. So he kicks the dude in the face, and in typical Van Damme fashion, literally kicks the dude in the face.
Smoked him.
Just smoked him.
Smashed his nose.
Yep.
And
Yep.
broke his
His
teeth.
teeth. Yeah, man. Chipped his teeth big time. So, and the guy was in good spirits about it. I can't recall if this one's one of those where he ended up suing or not, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So
They said, the narrator said that the stunt, the actor didn't lift his head high enough or something.
yeah, right.
I'm wondering if that was actually the case.
Yeah,
or...
exactly. Or if, I mean, it's such an odd. So the way that it's shot, like Van Damme could have been 2 feet away from him, to be honest, and it still would have looked like he kicked him in the face.
Yeah.
Just from the camera angle, but this one he really did, and they were like, "That's a good shot," so they kept it in.
Let's do that one again.
Yep, they took it. So
I would have, if I were that guy, I'd be like, yeah, that shot was fine.
Yep, I know, right? I think he was kind of like that. He was like, "Oh, geez," he was just kind of pissed, but also he even said, he's like, "This is what happens, it sometimes happens."
Man, he got smoked. Like the bridge of his nose was busted, and it was bleeding all over his face.
Yeah,
and...
he was like, "Of course I want this to go differently." But yeah, man. So it's not fun when you get a tooth chipped. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I
when
know.
It's caused by someone else. Yeah, so that
really,
goes on.
Really, just gets that adrenaline flowing.
Oh yeah, it does, dude. It does. You want to fucking punch someone, man.
You're just like,
Yeah. And so all the meanwhile that's happening, his wife Gladys and Christopher are packing up in LA to make the drive to Vancouver to stay at their place in Vancouver, that stuff's always mind-blowing to me, just having so many houses everywhere.
Yeah, constantly traveling.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do that. I'd just be like, it's one thing. So we live in Michigan, so it's not uncommon. I guess maybe more so with our generation, it's uncommon. But before that, with our parents' generation, the baby boomers, you had your cottage up north.
Yeah.
Or, whatever.
Or you're a snowbird or...
Yeah, right. And so we don't really see that kind of stuff nowadays. But to see someone have 5 different places of residence,
that they just bounce around at. Yeah.
Mind-blowing to me. So it's like, okay, so you're a Canadian citizen, maybe? You're a U.S. citizen? You have a place in Hong Kong? You have a place in...
That's so wild.
Dude, it's crazy. So anyway, all the meanwhile that's happening, Chris and Gladys are on the road trip, and Chris has his girlfriend with him. And all of a sudden, Chris has car problems, and his car breaks down, and you can see he's frustrated with it, and... That's very understandable. It's a 21-hour trip from LA to Vancouver. Man. I didn't know that. for us, I was talking with Jeff, and I'm like, that's a Michigan to Florida trip right
Yeah.
there. So that's I couldn't imagine that, and that's from the top of the states to the bottom of the states.
Yeah.
For those who might not be familiar with American geography, Michigan's at the top, Florida's at the bottom. So to go from L.A. to Vancouver, I was like, wow, that's a pretty long distance.
Yeah, it's a road trip.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about it too, what LA's kind of in the south, like, I mean, it's lower half of California. So, but yeah, absolutely insane. Kind of hilarious. Chris was acting really goofy with his car. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
A dealership a day keeps the doctor away or something. I was like, what?
That whole family, man.
Yeah. Yep. So that's happening. Bianca's already up in Vancouver with Eddie. Was that his name?
Yeah,
Her
I think so.
And you can tell he's getting a little nervous. And apparently he knows how to salsa dance.
Yeah, I guess.
That was weird. They're waiting for everyone. Van Damme gets done filming. And then they all meet up in Vancouver. Meanwhile, we find out that Van Damme has another assistant who's been with him for 12 years that, kindly weirdly looks like Gladys a little bit too. So that's kind of weird. And
he definitely has a type.
Van Damme is hilarious and really awkward with some stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff that you really couldn't get away with now. And he's doing, she's goes into the back seat to get his pants, and he's like, "Look at that ass!" And like she's like, Van Damme," and he's just laughing. They're joking around a little bit, and then like she gets him his comfy pants. He puts them on. He puts his fingers through the pee hole, and he's pulling like Michael Scott in The Office, if you recall ever watching that, and. It's just absolutely awkward but hilarious too.
It was
It's
amazing to watch.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, definitely weird. And then
she shook his hand too.
Yeah,
through
she shook his
through
hand
the fly of the pants.
Yeah, she shook his hand too. And so they had a good laugh. They both had a good, I mean, I guess he knew who he was dealing with, right? Like some people you can make the joke with knowing that they're comfortable, and then others I definitely wouldn't, right? So 12 years and she's still with them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Still kind of, I don't think
crazy to watch.
Yeah, right. So then there's that. They finally all get to Vancouver. Gladys and the kids put up the 80 million Christmas trees in the
there was like
apartment.
There was like 8 Christmas trees in there.
Yeah, man. And one of the dogs pisses on the floor. Van Damme scolds the dog, and the dog sits in the corner. And that was
made the dog sit
hilarious.
in the corner.
He made him sit in the corner.
And the dog really actually sat there. Yeah.
The dog just stayed there. I thought, wow, that's awesome. So Van Damme says on Christmas morning he's going to have Eddie train with him, and he's going to punch him because, that's what happens, right? That's what fathers do. And it just was awkward because he said, "You did not record this," but he came up to me and said, "Sir, I just want to ask your permission if it is okay to sleep in the same, bed as Bianca." And he goes, "Where was my permission 3 months ago?"
Yeah.
And Gladys is like, "Oh, you're such an old-fashioned type," and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, "Excuse me, sir, can I stoop your daughter? Can I stoop your wife?" And it's absolutely ridiculous. He's on a new diet, but he goes to a Christmas party and just gets wasted. And
does karaoke.
And then has a very bad hangover in the morning. And it's Christmas, but he still keeps his promise. Pretty much beats up Eddie, kicks him, hits him in the side of the head. Then they exchange gifts and whatnot at night, in which it's now Eddie's turn to get his gift, and it is 2 Jean-Claude Van Damme DVDs. And
amazing.
It was awesome. It was
the
JCVD
greatest gift ever.
and Bloodsport.
Yeah, 2 of his best films.
Yeah, he was like, "Holy fuck, you totally say you were not joking. That's what you got me." And he then asked Van Damme if he would sign Bloodsport for him, which I thought was also funny.
That was.
So, yeah, that was kind of it. That was kind of the episode. Is there anything you can remember from this episode that I didn't really mention?
No, that about covers it. They did that training where they beat the shit out of you with bamboo rods.
Yeah, the bamboo rods again, and dropping medicine balls on the poor kid's
straight
stomach.
out of Kickboxer.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Very much so. Very, very ridiculous. And of course, the kid was kind of eating it up.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah. So
Also, the
awkward.
kid looked like Haley Joel Osment, too.
Yeah, he did. He really did. And just imagine that Bianca and Haley Joel Osment were dating. So yeah, that's kind of it, man. That's episode 5 wasn't too much. That was kind of the story.
It was
just
funny. I
was.
enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, we laughed a lot. I think this one we might have laughed. Besides maybe the first one, this one we might have laughed the most.
Yeah,
so far.
I think so.
Very good. Kind of crazy that we're already halfway through it now, and we just have 3 episodes left.
It's it's been a wild ride already.
That's right. And just as wild is our TeePublic page. That's tee.pub/lic/podbros. Also, do your shopping on Amazon using our link. Doesn't cost you anything, but helps us out in the long run. And patreon.com/podbros. There is a super secret tier there where you can hear the greatest Jean-Claude Van Damme cast episode ever. That about wraps it up. I am John.
And I am Jeff.
And you are listening to another episode of the Jean-Claude Van Damme cast. Now, Jeff, I'm going to train you on Christmas Day.